been out on the streets filming some questions from voters in the Solomon electorate. The first topic we're going to address is cost of living, and here's one of the questions that one of those voters had.
So my question would be, what are you going to do about the housing crisis in Darwin and in Australia as a whole?
Lisa, I might go to you first. We've heard a lot of policy announcements from both sides in the past week or so about housing. To that voter's question, what is your plan to bring down the cost of housing in the Territory?
Look, the Coalition's announced that they're going to invest $5 billion to unlock the necessary infrastructure upgrades that are required for housing. We know that under Labor, the HAFF has produced no new houses. And particularly for Territorians, we have a high homeless population up here in the Territory. We really struggle with our housing issues up here. We've also got the promise that from Labor that they're going to produce more houses. That's fallen flat for the Territory particularly. We have a real issue with our Indigenous population needing housing here in the Territory. And I think Labor has failed Territorians terribly in that side. With the cost of living measures around housing, we've seen that the Coalition have announced the measures for the mortgage, the tax deduction on mortgage repayment. So that's up to $650,000, which is going to be able to help people get into houses, buy their own homes. We've also got the Territory government have got an initiative for the first home buyers, $50,000 towards that new home as well. So working with the Territory government means that we're going to be able to have people in houses. People are going to put roots down in the Territory, and we're going to have people stay here, which is what we need long term.
I might throw to another one of our voter questions, because it does relate to the issue that you were talking about there, Lisa, about homelessness, and just ask Luke to respond. If we can just throw to that question.
Yes, I'd like to ask the politicians, what are they doing with homelessness? There's a lot of homelessness here in Darwin.
Just on that issue, Luke, because we are hearing both the parties talk about these policies to get people into the market, but we are hearing a lot of people talk about the fact that's only going to drive up the price and the cost of housing. And also, if you look at the situation here in the Northern Territory, it's the rent that is a real issue. We have the second most expensive rents of any capital city in the country. People are paying $700 on average for a house, $560 for a unit. Will those policies, not just the ones that you've announced, but that the Coalition have announced as well, will they not make this rental problem worse and make the homelessness crisis worse?
I think the Coalition's policies are pretty knee-jerk. It's really evident that they don't get housing and how to make it sustainable over the long term. And they actually stopped in the Parliament our Housing Australia Future Fund legislation getting through. So that caused a delay to the rollout. But regardless, there's over 26,000 around the country houses being built right now, including in Darwin and Palmerston, out in Palmerston, in fact. But we're working closely with the NT government. Leah Finocchiaro, the NT Chief Minister, was spoken about there a lot more than Peter Dutton from Lisa. I mean, Lisa's no Leah, let me just say that. But in terms of the housing challenges here today, I was at a housing event for youth homelessness in the city. And of course, I spoke to a lot of the stakeholders there that are funded by our government in record amounts of funding to provide services for young people that are at risk of homelessness. And I really appreciate the work that they do, but we're not just saying we appreciate the work you're doing, we are funding them to provide the services they need. The same way we are funding the NT government to build a youth engagement hub. It hasn't quite got around to building it yet, but that was a big priority for me. We want to get around these kids, and the Assistant Police Commissioner mentioned it the other day. We've got to address the drivers of crime, as well as providing extra funding for police, which the federal government is doing. So we're helping Leah Finocchiaro, the NT Chief Minister, with her responsibilities for law and order, but we're also helping young people. Well, we're trying anyway. We need the NT government, we need the CLP to get on and build that youth engagement hub.